Picture this. You wake up one morning and the lights won't turn on. Your phone's dead. The fridge is silent. Within hours, the city sounds vanish. No traffic, no news, no hum of life. Just cold, eerie quiet. The grid's gone. And suddenly you realize everything you depended on isn't coming back soon. I'm Davis, and I've been prepping since 2016. And let me tell you, one hard lesson I've learned the ugly way: comfort is fragile. One supply truck delay, one system failure, and people panic faster than you think. Here's the brutal truth most folks don't want to face. Modern convenience is a trap. We've traded self-reliance for next-day delivery. And when that stops, most will have no idea how to feed, heat, or protect their families. Just look at Texas, February 2021. Millions without power for days, store shelves cleared in hours, and water lines frozen solid. That wasn't a third world collapse. That was America, 2021. So today, I'm breaking down 13 overlooked survival items every prepper should have in 2025, the kind that quietly keep you alive when everything else fails. And number 9, it's something sitting in your kitchen right now, but used the right way, it can literally save your life. Look, things are shifting fast. Food inflation, grid instability, and global tensions all at once. You don't prep out of fear. You prep to stay free, calm, and one step ahead when chaos hits. Because when everyone else is panicking, you'll already be ready. You know what most modern preppers are getting wrong? They're overloading their shelves with freeze-dried meals and flashy gear, thinking that's real preparedness. But here's the truth. Those buckets and gadgets drain your wallet fast, and when the crisis hits, they won't give you half the flexibility you need. Real survival isn't about shiny packaging. It's about cheap, multi-purpose pantry items that do double or triple duty. The kind that feed you, preserve food, fuel your stove, and even work as barter when cash stops moving. And right now, this matters more than ever. Look, the Bureau of Labor Statistics still shows food prices staying painfully high through 2024 and into 2025. Meanwhile, the New York Post just reported volatility in tin plate and can supplies, meaning fewer affordable canned goods on shelves. And according to Future Market Insights, home preserving and root cellaring are booming again, driving up demand for jars, lids, and bulk staples. Here's where most folks slip up. First, they buy only freeze-dried bucket meals, expensive, single-use, and worthless for barter. That siphons hundreds, even thousands of dollars away from better options. Second, they hoard canned goods but never learn food rotation or preservation. Cans are heavy, pricey, and less calorie efficient than jars and dried goods. So let's fix that. Now I'll show you 10 Amish-tested pantry items that solve these mistakes, with real prices, smart storage hacks, and 2 life-saving uses each. Item 1. Dried beans. Look, most preppers underestimate something so basic it's almost embarrassing. Dried beans. Yeah, the humble pinto, red, or black bean, that bag sitting in the back of the grocery aisle for $2 a pound. Now here's the thing. Everyone rushes to buy canned beans because they're ready to eat. But the Amish, they've relied on bulk dried legumes for generations because they're cheaper, lighter, and last longer than any can you'll ever buy. According to 2024 pricing data from Amazon and Walmart, a 25-pound bag of pinto beans costs around $50 to $60. That's roughly 10 cents a serving. Meanwhile, canned beans can run triple that price. And the crazy part? If you store them right, sealed in 5-gallon food-grade buckets with oxygen absorbers, they'll stay good for over 10 years. That's not marketing hype. That's from real homesteaders, documented by Homesteaders of America. You can make hearty soups, grind them into flour for protein-packed bread, or even barter them when shelves go empty. Because when things get tough, food with calories, protein, and versatility becomes pure currency. Now, I'll be honest, dried beans take patience. You gotta soak and cook them. That's where most people quit. But that's also why this works. Lazy preppers skip the hard stuff. The smart ones master it. Want to save even more? Grab split peas or lentils. They're cheaper, cook faster, and give nearly the same nutrition. Just don't make the rookie mistake of leaving open bags on a shelf. You'll attract bugs and lose months of food. Store airtight. Rotate weekly into your meals. That's how you build real food security. Quietly, systematically, without wasting a dollar. And wait till you see what's next, because the next item can cook your beans without using a single drop of fuel. Item 2. Hard wheat or bulk flour. Here's something the old-timers understood better than most modern preppers ever will. Real food starts with grain, not a fancy meal bucket. Hard red or white wheat berries. Bulk all-purpose flour. It's not glamorous, but it's survival gold. Because when the store shelves are stripped bare, you can still grind, bake, and feed your family for pennies. Look, a 50-pound bag of wheat berries runs about $45 to $55 in 2025, depending on the harvest and region. That's thousands of calories, shelf-stable for 25-plus years if sealed in Mylar with oxygen absorbers. Compare that to flour that lasts maybe 12 months on a pantry shelf. It's not even close. Here's the kicker. According to homestead storage guides and prepping data from 2024 to 2025, wheat berries can outlast most modern survival foods by decades. Why? No additives, no oil, no moisture, just pure grain. Now, you might be thinking, but I don't have a grain mill. That's exactly what most people say until a blackout hits. The Amish grind manually. No power, no problem. You can pick up a hand crank mill for around $80 and have fresh flour anytime, anywhere. Want a pro tip? Rotate it into your normal baking. Pancakes, flatbreads, muffins. Use what you store what you use. That's how the Amish keep zero waste and full control of their food supply. One more thing. Don't confuse cheap bleached flour for the good stuff. The nutrient loss is massive, and it spoils faster. Always go for hard wheat or unbleached AP flour in bulk. Because when flour runs out, bread becomes barter. And the one who controls the grain controls the meals, the trade, and the timeline of survival. And the next item? It's what lets you bake all that bread when the grid goes dark. Stay tuned. Item 3. Raw honey. Now let's talk about something sweet, but also strategic. Raw honey. Not the squeeze bottle stuff from the supermarket, but real, unfiltered honey straight from the hive. Here's the thing. This isn't just food. It's medicine, barter, and energy in one jar. The Amish have trusted honey for generations, not just because it tastes good, but because it never expires, literally. Archaeologists have found edible honey sealed in Egyptian tombs over 3,000 years old. According to 2024 market data, raw local honey averages $18 to $22 per quart from co-ops and small farms. Bulk 5-gallon buckets on Amazon or farm suppliers, around $180 to $200, and those can last your family years if stored in cool, dry conditions. Now here's why this matters. In a grid-down or blackout situation, sugar supplies disappear fast. Processed sugar hardens, attracts pests, and spoils with moisture. But honey? It crystallizes, not spoils. Just warm it gently, and it's as good as new. And it's not just for food. Honey's antibacterial properties make it a natural wound treatment, backed by modern research and used in survival medicine kits. The Amish even mix it with vinegar or herbal tinctures to boost immunity during cold seasons. Want to stretch your budget? Buy honey in bulk and refill smaller jars. Avoid blended or imported honey. It's often cut with syrup and loses all those natural enzymes. And if you're thinking, but isn't that too pricey? Remember this. Honey stores indefinitely, replaces sugar, treats wounds, and keeps morale up when things get rough. One jar can do what 10 modern products can't. So yeah, call it sweet insurance. And wait till you see the next item. It's what lets you preserve everything else you've stocked. Item 4. Salt. If there's one item that quietly built civilizations, it's salt. Simple, white, and overlooked, yet absolutely priceless when everything stops moving. See, the Amish know something most modern preppers forget. Salt isn't just for flavor, it's for preserving life, literally. It dries meat, ferments vegetables, balances electrolytes, and even helps cure hides. In the 1800s, it was traded ounce for ounce with gold in some regions. And if you think that sounds dramatic, wait until you try living without it for a week. Now here's the real kicker. According to current 2024-2025 data, a 25-pound bag of uniodized salt costs just $15 to $20 at feed stores or bulk suppliers. That's maybe the best dollar for calorie, dollar for utility investment you can make. It doesn't go bad, ever. Properly stored, sealed tight in Mylar or glass jars, it'll outlast you, me, and probably your grandkids. Want proof of how critical it is? During the 2022 supply hiccups, certain food-grade salts doubled in price overnight. It wasn't front-page news, but it hit homesteaders hard, especially anyone preserving meat or fermenting food. The Amish barely blinked. They already had barrels of it stored in cool, dry basements. No panic, no shortages, no problem. Now here's what's wild. People spend hundreds on fancy food gadgets, yet they forget the ingredient that actually keeps food edible. Salt preserves protein, draws out bacteria, and keeps moisture at bay. It's a natural disinfectant. You can use it for curing, pickling, even brushing your teeth in a pinch. Now don't waste money on designer pink salt or sea salt fats. Those are nice for taste, but plain, non-iodized or canning salt is what lasts and works. I keep both, iodized for nutrition, plain for preservation. And here's a prepper pro tip. Store some in small mason jars, because in a crisis, a single jar of salt can become powerful barter currency. Everyone needs it. Few will have enough. So, while everyone else is hoarding batteries and ramen, you'll have something far rarer, a mineral that preserves food, trades like money, and never spoils. And coming up next, the item that turns your stored food into actual hot meals, even when the power grid is gone. Item 5. Cooking fat, lard, tallow, and coconut oil. Here's something nobody talks about. How you're actually going to cook when the lights go out and the butter's long gone. See, the Amish don't just stock food, they stock fuel for their bodies and their stoves. And nothing does both better than traditional cooking fats, lard, tallow, and coconut oil. These are the forgotten power sources of real survival pantries, high calories, long shelf life, and multi-purpose beyond belief. Now, most preppers fill shelves with canned goods and grains, which is great, but they forget that without fat, you can't fry, bake, or sustain energy. Your body burns out, your food gets bland, your calories drop, and in a long-term crisis, that's dangerous. Here's what the numbers say. As of 2024-2025, you can buy 1 gallon of rendered lard for around $25 to $30, or a 5-gallon bucket of coconut oil for $70 to $90 online or from farm co-ops. Stored properly, sealed, cool, and out of sunlight, these fats can last 2 to 5 years, and coconut oil even longer. Want to know the Amish secret? They render fat straight from livestock, jar it hot, and store it in root cellars. It's clean, cheap, and reliable. No chemicals, no power needed. And here's the best part. You can use it for cooking, waterproofing tools, even making soap or candles. Try doing that with vegetable oil. Now let's be real. A lot of preppers skip this step because fat can spoil if handled wrong. But that's exactly why you should learn it now, not later. Keep it cool, rotate small jars, and always label your dates. That's how the Amish do it. Methodical, steady, never wasteful. And don't overlook its trade value. During food shortages, a pint of clean rendered fat is gold. It's calories, comfort, and culture all in one jar. If you're on a budget, Start small. Save bacon drippings, collect beef fat from the butcher, or grab coconut oil on sale. You'll be shocked at how quickly your pantry gains real power, dense energy, self-sufficiency, and the ability to cook when everyone else is eating cold beans. Because here's the brutal truth. Without fat, food becomes survival, not living. With it, you thrive. And next, we'll talk about the one thing that makes all your stored food taste fresh again, even after months off the grid. Item 6. Vinegar. White, apple cider vinegar, and cleaning grade. If there's one pantry item that quietly does the work of 10, it's vinegar. The Amish treat it like liquid gold, not because it's fancy, but because it's indispensable. We're talking about plain white vinegar, raw apple cider vinegar, and heavy-duty cleaning vinegar. 3 kinds, endless uses. And here's the thing. While most people see vinegar as just a condiment, real preppers know it's a preserver, cleaner, disinfectant, and medicine all in one. Let's start with price and practicality. In 2025, a gallon of white vinegar costs about $3 to $4 at Walmart or Dollar General. Apple cider vinegar runs $6 to $8, especially if you grab the with the mother raw type. And cleaning strength vinegar, the 6% kind, is still under $10 a gallon. Cheap, stable, and wildly useful. Now here's why the Amish swear by it. Vinegar never really goes bad. It's self-preserving because it's acidic. Keep it sealed and cool, and you can store gallons for decades. Homesteaders of America and modern homesteading blogs consistently rank vinegar in their top 5 no-expiration pantry essentials. And the uses? Endless. You can pickle vegetables, preserve eggs, clean tools, treat wounds, make natural disinfectants, and even balance pH for food storage. The Amish use it in cheese making, canning, and natural medicine. Some even mix it with honey for cough syrup. Here's a story. During the 2023 canning yar shortage, a few Amish communities doubled down on vinegar preservation. They skipped expensive commercial preservatives altogether. Result? Zero waste, zero spoilage, total independence. Now you might think bleach is better for cleaning, but vinegar does 90% of what bleach does without the fumes or shelf life issue. It kills mold, bacteria, and even neutralizes bad odors after butchering or food prep. Want a prepper pro tip? Store both white and apple cider vinegar separately. White for cleaning and preserving, cider for food and health. Buy in bulk when on sale and decant into smaller glass jars. Because when everyone else runs out of cleaning supplies, medicine, or canning agents, you'll have something that covers all 3 for pennies. And coming up next, we're talking about the one thing that turns a pile of raw ingredients into actual comfort food, even without electricity. You'll want this one in your pantry before prices spike again. Item 7. Cast iron cookware. If you ever visit an Amish farmhouse, you'll notice something hanging above every wood stove. A black, battle-tested cast iron skillet. It's not decoration. It's survival. When the grid goes down and fancy non-stick pans melt or warp, cast iron keeps working on wood stoves, campfires, propane burners, or even coals. That's why every serious prepper needs at least one. The Amish have used these for generations, and there's a reason. It outlives you. Let's talk numbers. A solid 10 to 12-inch cast iron skillet costs around $25 to $40 from Lodge or Cabela's. A Dutch oven, big enough for soups, breads, or stews, runs $60 to $80. That's it. One-time cost, lifetime tool. Compare that to modern cookware that lasts maybe 5 years. It's not even close. Now here's the truth most people ignore. Fancy freeze-dried food is useless if you can't cook it properly. Try boiling rice or browning meat on thin aluminum pans during a power outage. You'll ruin half your supplies. But cast iron retains and distributes heat evenly, even on low flame or raw coals. The Amish cook everything in it. Cornbread, pot roast, fried potatoes, even baked beans, all from scratch. It's also chemical-free and naturally non-stick once seasoned. No PFAS, no coatings that peel under heat. And that seasoning, the glossy black layer you build with oil, turns it into a non-stick surface that only gets better with age. Let's look at history for proof. During the Texas winter blackout of 2021, preppers who owned cast iron could still cook on outdoor grills, propane stoves, or even over open fires. Everyone else, cold meals and half-cooked food. And here's a secret use. Cast iron doubles as barter and defense value. In scarcity, durable tools become currency. A Dutch oven or skillet can trade for fuel, food, or supplies. Try doing that with a scratched-up Teflon pan. To store long-term, just keep your pans dry and lightly oiled. Wrap them in paper or cloth to avoid moisture. That's it. No batteries, no parts, no decay. So when others lose power, you'll still be cooking hearty meals that smell like home. Cornbread sizzling, stew bubbling, heat radiating from the pan. That's real security. Next, we're talking about the pantry staple that lets you bake, cook, and even make soap without electricity. And it's probably sitting in your kitchen right now, completely overlooked. Item 8. Lard and cooking oils. When the power goes out and your freezers full of butter and margarine start melting, one old-school item suddenly becomes worth its weight in gold: lard and cooking oils. This is something the Amish have never forgotten. They still render their own lard from pork fat and store gallons of tallow or vegetable oil in cool cellars. Why? Because fat is fuel, not just for your body, but for your entire survival system. See, most preppers stockpile grains and proteins, but forget the one macronutrient you cannot live without: dietary fat. Without it, your body burns out, your food tastes like cardboard, and you lose the calories that keep you warm and alert. A tablespoon of lard or oil carries about 120 calories. That's more energy than an entire slice of bread. Now let's talk shelf life and storage. Properly sealed lard stored in a cool, dark spot lasts up to 12 to 18 months. Coconut oil, easily 2 to 3 years. Olive oil, around a year, sometimes longer if kept airtight and away from light. And the trick? Rotate, just like the Amish do. Use what you store and store what you use. According to 2024-2025 pricing data, a 1-gallon jug of vegetable oil runs about $12 to $15, while rendered lard costs around $25 to $30 for a 5-pound tub. That's an incredible caloric value for your dollar, pennies per 100 calories. And the uses? Endless. You can fry, bake, and sauté with it. Coat cast iron to season it. Make homemade candles, waterproof leather, and even use it for emergency soap making. That's right, in Amish households, nothing goes to waste. Here's a story that says it all. During the Midwest grid failure last winter, families with oil and lard were still cooking full meals: biscuits, fried eggs, even donuts over open flame. Everyone else stuck with dry rice and cold beans. So don't overlook this humble powerhouse. In a blackout, fat equals survival. It's calories, comfort, and cooking all in one. Store it smart. Dark bottles, airtight lids, cool pantry. Rotate every year. And remember, when your modern pantry goes dark, this old-fashioned staple will still shine bright. Now, the next item takes that same old-world energy independence, but moves it from your kitchen to your power supply. And it's something every Amish home already relies on. Item 9. Cast iron cookware. If you had to cook every meal without electricity or fancy appliances, what would you trust? Not your nonstick pan. That thing warps, peels, and dies fast. The Amish know the answer, and it's been the same for generations. Cast iron cookware. A single cast iron skillet, Dutch oven, or griddle can do what 5 modern pans can't: fry, bake, roast, simmer, and even serve, all on open flame, coals, or a wood stove. That's why it's the only cookware that truly earns a spot in an off-grid pantry. Here's the crazy part most people miss. While modern cookware depends on electricity, coatings, and fragile handles, cast iron gets stronger with age. The more you use it, the better it cooks. Amish families pass theirs down for decades, blackened, seasoned, nearly indestructible. Now let's talk real-world performance. Cast iron retains heat like nothing else. You can pull it off the fire and it'll stay sizzling hot for minutes. Perfect for frying bread, boiling stews, or even baking biscuits on a wood stove. And if you've got a Dutch oven with a lid, you just gained an oven anywhere. Campfire, grill, or even coals in your backyard. Cost-wise, it's one of the smartest prepper investments you'll ever make. A quality 10-inch cast iron skillet runs about $25 to $40. A Lodge Dutch oven? Around $70 to $90, but it'll last your lifetime and probably your grandkids. And maintenance? Easier than you think. Forget soap and scrubbing. Just rinse, dry, and coat lightly with oil. That seasoning forms a natural nonstick surface that's chemical-free and actually improves with use. Here's where most preppers go wrong. They buy lightweight aluminum or enamel pots, thinking portability matters more. But when grid-down cooking becomes daily life, you'll want something that won't crack, melt, or flake. Cast iron thrives where everything else fails. During the 2021 Texas freeze, off-grid families cooked entire meals over fire pits and grills, bacon, cornbread, even stew, all thanks to cast iron. Those pans turned chaos into comfort. So if your goal is true resilience, not convenience, get your hands on a few solid cast iron pieces. Season them now, cook with them weekly, and they'll outlive every gadget in your kitchen. Because when the lights go out, your skillet still shines bright. And next up, we're moving from cooking gear to something that keeps your entire pantry alive, even when refrigeration dies. Item 10. Mason jars and lids. Picture this. Power's out for weeks, the fridge is dead, and your garden's full of produce that won't last more than a few days. What do? The Amish don't panic. They reach for something timeless. Mason jars. These aren't just glass containers. They're the backbone of food security, used for canning, fermenting, pickling, dehydrating, and even dry storage. One humble jar can keep food shelf-stable for years without a single watt of electricity. Here's the thing. While modern preppers rush for freezers and dehydrators, the smart ones know jars are priceless when the grid fails. According to Future Market Insights, by 2025, global demand for canning jars and lids has surged, especially after supply chain scares during 2020 to 2023. People are rediscovering what the Amish never forgot. Real preservation starts with glass, not gadgets. Now, let's talk cost. A case of 12 wide-mouth quart jars averages around $15 to $18 at Walmart or Tractor Supply. Bulk lids, about $5 to $7 per dozen, but they're getting harder to find during harvest season. Serious preppers buy them by the hundred because when lid shortages hit, like they did in 2021, your canning season can grind to a halt. And these jars aren't just for food. You can store dry beans, rice, spices, yeast, salt, and even candles inside. Add a desiccant packet, sealed tight, and you've got multi-year protection against moisture and bugs. Some Amish families even use them for herbal tinctures, salves, or barter. A single jar of preserved peaches or homemade jam can trade for real value in lean times. Want proof this matters? During the 2020 lockdowns, jars sold out nationwide. Homesteaders were literally trading used jars online. That's how vital they became. Here's a pro tip. Stock extra reusable canning lids like Tatler brand. They cost more up front, but can be used hundreds of times. That's real long-term resilience. And remember, glass doesn't rust, warp, or leach chemicals. Store it right, and it lasts forever. So while everyone's hoarding instant meals and MREs, the Amish are stacking rows of jars filled with life. Colors, flavors, calories, security you can actually see. Because when supply chains falter, those quiet shelves of mason jars aren't just food, they're freedom, sealed tight. And the next item? It's the one that keeps every jar, can, and bucket protected for years to come, even against nature itself. All right, let's be honest. You can buy all the beans, rice, and flour in the world, but if you don't store them right, you're just feeding the bugs. This is where the Amish mindset meets modern prepper science, Mylar bags and oxygen absorbers, the silent guardians of every long-term pantry. Here's the picture. You open your survival stash a year from now. Everything smells fresh, crisp, clean. No weevils, no moisture, no rot. Why? Because you used a sealed Mylar system instead of leaving food in thin plastic or cardboard. Mylar isn't just a bag, it's a metallized barrier that blocks out light, air, and humidity. Pair that with the right oxygen absorbers, those little packets filled with iron powder, and you've created a near vacuum that kills bugs, slows oxidation, and stops food spoilage cold. The Amish use similar airtight logic with jars and cellars. We just use modern materials to do the same job faster. Let's talk numbers. A pack of 50 one-gallon Mylar bags runs about $25 to $30 on Amazon, and a set of 100 oxygen absorbers, 300 cc's, goes for around $15 to $20 on Amazon. That's enough to protect hundreds of pounds of dry goods for 10 to 25 years, depending on storage conditions. Rice, beans, oats, flour, pasta all thrive in sealed Mylar inside food-grade buckets. And here's a pro tip most people overlook. Always label each bag with the contents and date before sealing. A Sharpie today saves you a headache 5 years from now. Now here's the kicker. During crisis years like 2020 and 2022, these storage supplies vanished from shelves. You literally couldn't find oxygen absorbers for months. People were hoarding them like gold. That should tell you something. Because when food becomes currency, proper storage becomes wealth preservation. So don't just stockpile food, seal your future. Learn this one system, and your pantry becomes a vault. No power needed, no panic. And here's the thing, this small, quiet investment protects everything else you've worked for. Your beans, your grains, your honey, your peace of mind. When the lights go out and stores go bare, you won't be worried. You'll be ready, calm, steady, and stocked for the long haul. Because smart preppers don't just collect food, they protect it. All right, let's pull it all together. We just went through 10 Amish-tested pantry items, the kind that don't need electricity, fancy packaging, or corporate label to keep you alive. These aren't trendy prepper gadgets. They're the backbone of self-reliance. Think about what we covered. Beans that fuel you for pennies, wheat that turns into bread, honey that never spoils, salt that preserves life, jars that seal your future, and cast iron that outlives every modern appliance. Simple tools, real power. Here's the brutal truth. The world's not getting more stable, food inflation's rising, supply chains are fragile, and even big box stores admit they can't always restock staples. You don't need fear, you need foresight. Because prepping isn't about paranoia, it's about peace. It's about knowing your family won't go hungry when others are waiting in line for rations. It's about taking control back, one bucket, one jar, one skill at a time. Now here's what I want you to do next. Pick 3 of these items this week. Just 3. Start small, but start today. Maybe it's a bag of wheat berries, a jar of honey, or a cast iron pan. Build momentum, because preparation isn't built overnight. It's built by habit. And here's the best part. Once you start using these items in your everyday life, you stop prepping for someday. You start living prepared every single day. If this breakdown helped you think differently about what real security looks like, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got more deep dives coming, from barter-ready items to off-grid cooking setups, all built on that same Amish logic. practical, durable, and freedom-focused. Remember this, survival isn't about panic buying, it's about steady building. And the sooner you start, the calmer you'll be when the next crisis hits. Because real prepping isn't about surviving the storm, it's about thriving through it and teaching others to do the same. Stay sharp, stay stocked, and I'll see you in the next one.